guys, so this is my second tutorial for chalk painting, and today I'm going to take on a slightly bigger project to show you how to do something a little more complicated with chalk paint. This is a jewelry box that I picked up at Value Village. I think it was $13, so I really loved it. It has a music box in it, and it plays the V on Rose, which I thought was really pretty, and I love that song. So I got it, and I'm gonna try to make it a little prettier. It's pretty dated right now, so I'm gonna try to update a little bit. And here's what I'm gonna use to do that. First of all, I'm gonna need a paintbrush, and I'm gonna need a pair of pliers. I'm gonna need a bamboo skewer or something that has a point on it that's not metal, preferably. I'll show you what that's for in just a minute. And today I've chosen to use Americana Decor Chalky Finish paint. I got this at Michael's, and this is a really pretty dark charcoal color. I love, if you can see the inside of these drawers, is this really pretty kind of pumpkin yellow, and so I thought the dark charcoal would work well with that, because I don't want to, on this one I'm not going to replace the lining. And then I'm going to also need some Creme Wax, also Americana Decor from Michael's. So I've already kind of wiped it off. This piece wasn't that dirty, and so I didn't really feel the need to wash it. And I'm gonna start by taking off the hardware. A lot of hardware, sometimes it's screwed on, sometimes it's just glued on, sometimes it's a brad. And so to figure out what this one is, this lining is just fabric glued over cardboard. And so I should be able to pry it off, especially if the glue's kind of old, like it probably is on this one. So I'm just going to stick my bamboo skewer in here. You can see this. So yeah, it comes away really easily. So I can just fold that down. And on the inside, I don't know if you can see it, but this one's a brad. So that's pretty simple to remove. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to bend these two pieces straight. It's a little hard to do it at this angle, as you can see. Yeah, but once I have them straight, I should be able to just pull this out. Or I can use the pliers and just pull it out. There we go. So and it's not too damaged. So I am going to do that with all the rest of this hardware, and I will check back in when I'm done. Okay, now all the hardware is removed, and so I can start painting. I'm not gonna tape all these drawers off. If you want to, if you're really concerned about paint getting down around the edges a little bit, then you can tape all the drawers, all the edges, but I'm not gonna do that because I'm probably just gonna be using this to store some jewelry making supplies, so I'm not particular. So let's start painting. So I have my paint, I'm gonna shake it up. And you notice I have not covered my work surface. You can if you want to. I'm not super worried about it. Yeah, and I'm just gonna start painting. And you can see this goes on really nice and thick. So a lot of times for little projects that aren't gonna have much wear and tear, you only need one coat. Another tip, when you have pieces that have a lot of edges like this one, you always wanna paint toward the edge, because if you paint like this, you can see it builds up in all those cracks and crevices. So if you paint toward the edge, you get a nice smooth finish on all of those edges. So you can see it goes on really easy. And I'm just gonna get it in all the dents and divots. And there's the top. So you can use this size of brush if you want on all the other faces. I actually have a slightly smaller brush that I might use in some of the details. But yeah, just keep going, and I will check back in when I'm gonna start on the front. So now I've painted the top and the sides, and I'm gonna start on the front. And to do this, I'm gonna try to paint one panel at a time, just because I like to try to minimize the amount of kind of gloppiness and texture there is. I like it with a kind of antique finish. You can see some of the brush strokes, but I don't want it too gnarly looking. So I'm going to use this smaller brush because it doesn't load as much paint, and then just paint one panel at a time so it doesn't get too much down in the cracks. And at the same time, I'm going to paint these crossbars. Just trying to use a thin coat of paint, just enough to cover everything without causing a lot of drips or glops. So that's it. And I will show you when I'm done. Okay, I've left it for a while. It's now dry, and if you want, you can do another coat. There are places where I can still see a little bit of the brown through the gray, but that doesn't bother me because I'm actually going to distress it. I love all the details on the front here, and I want to bring them out a little bit. So like we did on the last project, I'm just going to take some sandpaper, and it's going to be a little bit more work to get around all these details. But I'm just going to take a little bit off those corners to bring out all that beautiful detail. Okay, then I'm going to do all these edges, these sides. It really doesn't take much because this paint comes off really easily because we haven't waxed it yet. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to give it a really good rub down with my cloth, and I'll check back in. So the last step, now that it's all distressed and cleaned, is just to use the cream wax. And like we did last time, I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush and then start lightly swiping it over some of these areas to get the excess off, and then really start working it into all those details. And you really just need a very light coat. So working it in between all these lines until there's no excess anywhere. Just like that. So I'll finish up the flat sides, which will be a lot easier, and I'll check back in. And here is the finished product. My glaze is now dry, my wax is now dry, and I've put my painted hardware back on, and I am really, really happy with how this turned out. I think it looks really beautiful. The wax kind of deepened the color a little bit and gave it a richness and depth that I wasn't really expecting. So I think this is gorgeous, and I'm definitely going to use it in my studio, and I hope it inspires you to make something. Thanks, bye!